I'm Nanz Chong, and so I've been in business in the marketplace for many years. I think my claim to fame must have been modeling, which I thought was modeling. I modeled for 10 years. So I started, and my first break came when I have to cut my hair really short and earn this whole full spread of products for Sony, which subsequently I was painted. My face was all over buses and all over Singapore. And I thought that was successful. I thought I had, made it in a very short time. I started a small boutique, did really well. I was 22 years old, had a boutique for 11 months, and it was packed with customers. And I sold the business for $80,000 after 11 months. So I think as a 22, that's pretty good. So I felt even more successful. The $199 idea came when I thought there was a need, and all businesses should meet the needs of people. And so I thought, the need was to have good quality products and nice packaging in upmarket locations, because typically, good products are kind of in the very old alley and very dim light shop houses. So I thought that bringing this concept in would be great. Everything at $1.99 in upmarket locations. So it went so well. I did a first store, and in a few months I had $3.5 million turnover. That is very good for any business at any capacity. And so we grew. We had two stores and 3 and 4. So every year my revenue doubled. I think I felt affirmed that I could do this. Hey, I could do it. And I'm in control. And so I think success means I'm in control, right? I mean, I did it from nothing, from bare hands. The business grew really fast, and I was awarded the Entrepreneur of the Year in 2000. There were a lot of affirmation that I was doing the right thing. I was working so hard. That was all I think and all I care about. It was just about work. Work is success to me. If you put in more hours, you'll be more successful. And that was what I thought.
Back home, another 8 people have been infected.
3 more people have been infected in Singapore.
5 more people in Singapore have
Another
been infected.
5 people in Singapore have been
Another news,
infected.
7 more people have severe acute
The
respiratory
number of
syndrome
SARS
or
cases
SARS.
in Singapore has hit 69.
And so, we've heard this before, that bad things do happen to good people. And so one fine day, SARS came to Singapore. Customers were not coming into the stores. Staff was calling literally every moment, hey boss, there's no one coming to the store. What happened? I mean, think about it. We have about 15 stores. Suddenly, the people were not coming. Cash flow just slashed by half. There was high rental, there fixed rental, and then we have 200 staff. That was a lot of bills to be paid. And that's, for once, I thought, wow, success comes with a price. I thought that success is very heavy burden. And the receivers of the banks came in and said that they have to take over the business. You never be really prepared. It was like a tsunami for business people. It was a tsunami for myself and my family. And it hit so quickly that there was very little time. Like in tsunami, you can run. If you have a warning, the sound of warning, you can run. And you can escape quickly. But it wasn't so. It just came and just wiped out everything. In 6 weeks, our business was over. Receivers took over. We closed from 14, 13, 10, 5, and we left 3, something like that. And I think it would have been a lot worse, because the year that I went bankrupt, there were 4,000 people that went bankrupt. And in my recollection, I don't recall another person talking about it as much as I did about failure and success. I think that was because just prior to this, I think God has cushioned this whole thing. I came back to Christ 3 years before this happened, at the peak of my career. At the top of my career, after I won Women Entrepreneur of the Year. So who says you don't need God when you're successful? Because it was grace of God. I came back to Christ as a backslidden Christian. And we felt that was a time during this tsunami. It was rocky, but I was in a boat that was safe. So imagine it wasn't stormy in the sense like how a person would think it would be, but it was calming. So it was rocky, but it was calming. I know it's an irony, but that was what happened. Emotionally, it was really sad to go through and walk through, because I thought it was successful, and success is meant to last, right? I mean, you know, so. At this point, the story was there were a lot of write-up on the papers because everyone knows 199, and so we were on the headline every day. It's funny that most people view bankruptcy as poverty and don't get close to the person, or it's just very despised. And the irony is, during that time, many press came and asked me, how do you feel? I mean, it's always about feeling and emotions. And I would tell them every time that I'm happy and I'm fine, I will come back. And each time, the articles would be all about positive headlines. And it says things like, she's no failure, or success and failure. We have a 2-page on Straits Times that I'm just talking about success and failure. I mean, on hindsight, it was interesting because how could a small business like that be on headline every day unless somebody was brewing something for the future? Since then, the closure of 199, and then I was speaking in many speaking engagements about just being successful and failing and not afraid to come back. It took me to some very fascinating place. I never thought I would speak at the Prime Minister's office in Singapore, Supreme Court. I never thought I would speak at a global entrepreneur conference that's initiated by President Obama. So some of the governments, that boss says, don't use the word failure. But they asked me to talk about failure. So I don't know what I should do, but I told them, if I don't talk about failure, then I'm not the right speaker, because we are being unreal and we are being cosmetic about our failure. I don't think it was my capacity. It was a purpose that God has, that He turned all things for good to those who love God. It wasn't like I wanted another career, but every door was just open, and I felt that I cannot keep quiet. I have to speak about this because it's something good. Nobody can see success again without talking about failure. So I think we can be courageous to talk about failure all the time, because since God used them for good anyway for the future, so it's like a footprint. You don't see the past, how can you see the future? And today, after 10 years of actively speaking in the community, last year I was asked by a global company, SodaStream. This was really literally on my lap, because when the distributor spoke to me, I have no warehouse, no staff. It was, we had the smallest operation, that is my husband and I. And we know that with God, 2 people can be 10,000. We know that God made this happen. So it was just only in the last, this year, in the last few months, we took over, and today we are in more than 8 outlets, partner store. We have a very successful online store. I think we all experience failure, but we cover up too much because of pride. I think without pride, we can all say, God, I failed. Can you come in? I think we have to acknowledge that we failed, because without that, it's like if you don't have a sickness, why you need a doctor? If the person wasn't blind, why would he need Jesus? The person has to be blind, he needs Jesus. So I would say that it's okay to fail, because in fact we should talk about it. Our failed venture, it's our greatest gold mine. We look back and says, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? What was the missing element? I know that as Christians, sometimes we only depend on God and we just wait and pray. If we only trust God, just praying and do nothing, I didn't feel that we stepped into the water. And to me, you know what? I think sometimes we overdo with this success thing in a physical realm, that we said if we see money, we see condo, we see cars, it's success. But I think the success is the joy in you. People have seen that. And I believe the joy in God, the peace that surpasses all understanding is very real. So real that a reporter can write that again and again on Straits Times, on 8 Days, on all the different media in Singapore. And so I think that we must remember the moments we failed, and then we must counter it to remember God, it was there, you were there for me. And I'm just very grateful to the Lord because I was picked up. Even I was proud and I was at the top of my career. I was only caring more about the me, I, myself syndrome. But you know, God's hand is never too short. If we say yes, you know, that sort of path us for the future. Yeah.